Hello aspirants, we are having a banking awareness course which is a one-stop solution for the banking awareness as it covers both current and static banking. If you see under the current banking, there is weekly banking video which covers that week's banking and finance part, and the monthly banking PDF which consolidates the entire month banking and finance news in this particular PDF. Both can be accessed under this current banking part. And under the static banking part, if you see, this covers the static concepts which forms the base for the current banking news. So here in-depth explanation of the topics with examples will be provided, and also you can watch the videos for more understanding, and after reading the notes and watching the videos you can attend the quiz in the form of a revision. And also if you see, we regularly update the topics under the static banking. So the latest information will be available under the static banking. And also if you have any doubts, we also have a doubt solving section where you can post your doubts and our team will quickly resolve all your doubts. So before purchasing this course, you can avail this RS10 code for an extra 10% discount. Good evening. Today we will be covering August 3rd week banking and finance awareness news. Moving to the first news. The first news about the consultation paper that has been released by the Security Exchange Board of India. Now, what is this consultation paper regarding? So here if you see the consultation paper, it has proposed a mandatory color coded credit riskometer for what? For debt security. Debt securities are nothing but bonds, okay, that are issued. So that if you see, it should have a color coded credit riskometer. So this is how a color coded credit riskometer looks like. So what is the purpose behind this? Generally, if you see a debt security, it will have a rating. Okay, the rating might be A, AAA, AA, D, B, C. Many people will not know what B denotes for, what C denotes for. They may not know their credit rating, right? But if there is a color coded riskometer, it will be very easy for them to understand. It's very easy, right? Low means what? It has very low risk. High means very high, it has very high risk. So this is easily understandable by the people than the rating like A, B, C, D. You don't know what rating it denotes, right? Many people may not know. So that is why now the SEBI has proposed that a color coded riskometer be there for the debt security. So for what all securities this is applicable? So this is applicable to the following securities: non-convertible securities, commercial papers, securitized debt instruments, security receipts, then structured debt linked debentures. For all these type of debt securities, this proposal is mandatory. Now if you see, sometimes one debt security might receive various credit ratings. Okay, because it is a credit rating agency that will give a credit rating to the debt security after analyzing all the financial statements. So sometimes if you see, some X credit rating agency might give AA rating, another Y credit rating agency might give B rating, and another Z credit rating agency might give A rating. So when multiple credit ratings are there for one particular debt security, which credit rating should you take? So in this case, if you see, you should take the least credit rating. When there are multiple credit ratings for one particular debt security, you should take the least. So in this case, if you see, there are three credit ratings. One is AA, A and B. The least one is B. So B should be associated with this debt security. Okay, this is when happens when multiple credit rating scenario happens. Next, so where all this credit riskometer should be displayed? So SEBI has told that the credit riskometer should be displayed for the debt security. But in what all documents? In the following documents, that is in the offer documents, in the abridged prospectus, private placement memorandums, then also in the OBP, that is online bond platform provider advertisements, online bond platform provider web platforms, and also in the mobile platforms. In all these areas, if you see, this riskometer must be displayed. Next, communication. So here if you see, suppose the credit rating agency provides AA rate. Now after a week or something, it reanalyzes the statements and finds out that it reduces the credit rating to B. Okay, and informs the online bond platforms. So this online bond platform, if you see, it must be, okay, this new credit rating must be displayed in its platform, web platform, and its mobile platform within 24 hours of communication. Okay, suppose there is a revision of credit rating and it is being informed to this online bond platform. Then if you see this online bond platform, it has to be reflected in its website platform, in its mobile platform. That is, the new credit rating must be displayed in all these areas within 24 hours of communication. This is mandatory. And one more thing is that suppose if it is an unsecured bond, okay, if it is an unsecured debt security, then the word unsecured, the word unsecured must be displayed in bold red letters. Okay, in this all documents, if it is unsecured, then in bold letters, that too in red color, unsecured word must be displayed under that riskometer. This is also mandatory. Now, how many levels of risk are there? There are totally 6 levels of risk. First one, lowest credit risk, followed by very low, low, moderate risk of default, high to very high risk of default. This is the credit rating range for each level and this is the color assigned for each level. Okay, this is the news about the color coded riskometer. Next news is about the 2 new portals that has been launched by the Security Exchange Board of India. So, what are those 2 new portals and what is the purpose of them? One is the SEBI Incident Reporting Portal. So, here if you see, this portal is launched for security market entities. Okay. For security market entities to report cyber security incidents. The purpose of this is to report cyber security incidents to SEBI. That is this SEBI incident reporting. So, if you see, previously also it was there, but this is a new version that has been launched. Next is the Cyber Suraksha. So, what is this? This is a central platform to share cyber security information. So, in this, if you see, cyber security information will be shared, such as if you see any policy measures and also any cyber security knowledge, any warning signs, all this will be shared in this Cyber Suraksha. And one more thing is that in RegTech Lab was launched. Now, where this RegTech Lab was launched? This lab was launched at the NISM campus, which is located in Mumbai. Okay, this campus is located in Mumbai and this is where this RegTech Lab was launched. The purpose behind this RegTech Lab, if you see, it is to promote practical learning. Okay, to promote practical learning, to provide professional training. That is the purpose behind this lab and that is why it was launched in the Mumbai campus. The next news is IFSCA, International Financial Service Center Authority. It has given investment banking license to the Nexent Capital IFSC Private Limited. To the Nexent Capital IFSC Private Limited, which is located in the GIFT City, that is in Gujarat, Gandhinagar, right? So, with this license, if you see, now this Nexent Capital, it can carry out investment banking and capital market activities. So, investment banking activities and the capital market activities can be now taken forward by the Nexent Capital. So, investment like capital market activities such as IPO, initial public offer, FPO, following public offer, all that activities can be provided by the Nexent Capital. See, if any banking activities has to be provided within India, that is outside Gandhinagar, means it has to get approval from the Reserve Bank of India. If any company wants to start insurance activities, it has to get approval from IRDAI, right? Similarly, if any activities has to be started within this GIFT City, then it has to get approval from the IFSCA. IFSCA is the regulator that will provide or give the authorization to do such activities. Generally, outside IFSCA, that is outside the GIFT City, that approval is given by either RBI or PFRDA or if you see SEBI. But here, within the GIFT City, all the approval is given by the IFSCA authority. Okay. Next is about the penalty that has been imposed by the Reserve Bank of India on which bank? On the IndusInd Bank. So, what is the penalty amount? The penalty amount is 59.2 lakhs. Okay, 59.2 lakhs is the penalty amount. imposed on the IndusInd Bank. Why? Because it failed to follow the rules and regulations set by the Reserve Bank of India. So here in this case, if you see, it had paid the interest on certain current accounts. So you know there are current accounts and savings account, right? These are the demand deposits. Okay. Time deposits are FTs and recurring deposits. Those all come under the time deposit category. Current account, savings account and all, if you see, it comes under demand deposit category. So savings account, if you see, it offers an interest. Okay. Generally, that interest is lesser than the time deposits, but it offers some interest to the customers. But current account, if you see, generally they do not offer any interest. The money lying in the current account, generally banks do not offer any interest on the balance that is lying in the current account. But IndusInd Bank, if you see, it had provided interest on certain current accounts, and that is why it is a violation, and that is why the Reserve Bank of India had imposed the fine of 59.20 lakhs on the IndusInd Bank. IndusInd Bank, if you see, it was established in the year 1994, and the tagline of IndusInd Bank is, "We make you feel richer." This is the tagline of IndusInd Bank. We make you feel richer. Now you have to tell me in the comment section who is the MD and CEO of IndusInd Bank. If any bank is in the news, you should know all the static information related to the bank. Okay, this is a very important thing. Next is about a credit card that is launched by the Yes Bank. So Yes Bank, if you see, it has recently launched a credit card called Yes Essence. Credit card name is Yes Essence. This, if you see, it is a women-focused credit card. Now, if you see at the eligibility condition, who all can apply for the credit card? So, the users who wishes to apply for this credit card, if you see, they must be of the age between 21 to 60. People between 21 to 60 can apply for this credit card, and the minimum net salary should be rupees 30,000 per month. Okay, if you want to apply for this credit card, the minimum net salary should be rupees 30,000 per month. And Yes Bank headquarters, it is in Mumbai. And the MD CEO of Yes Bank, if you see, it is Vinay M. Tonse. Vinay M. Tonse is the MD and CEO of Yes Bank. Next is about the agreement that has been signed by the BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, and the PHDCCI, that is PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, what is the purpose of this MOU? The purpose is to expand the capital market access to the MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. So this, if you see, instead of the MSMEs to depend solely on the banks for their loans and for the investments, here it is telling that even the MSME should look for the capital markets, that is raising money through equities. Should try this option also, should expand this capital market access for the MSMEs, that is equity finance. Okay, instead of relying just on the banks for the loans, the MSMEs should also try equity finance for the investment purposes. Okay, for this purpose only, the MOU has been signed between the two entities, that is the Bombay Stock Exchange and the PHDCCI, that is PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Next is about an appointment. So, Shabnam Sinha has been appointed as the chairperson of Airtel Payment Bank. So, here if you see, Shabnam Sinha will be the chairperson for a period of 3 years. And her title, if you see, her chairperson position, it starts from 1st October 2026. Okay, from 1st October 2026 till 3 years, she will serve as the chairperson. Next is Jammu and Kashmir Bank has signed an agreement with the HDFC Life Insurance Company. Why? So that the Jammu and Kashmir Bank will have access to the life insurance policies issued by the HDFC Life Insurance. Okay, that is to expand the customer's insurance choices. See, already Jammu and Kashmir Bank may have been providing some other insurance company policies. Now, this bank will also provide this HDFC Life Insurance policy, so the customers can choose whatever they want. That is the purpose behind this agreement signed between Jammu and Kashmir Bank and HDFC Life Insurance Company. So this HDFC life insurance company, if you see, it was established in the year 2000. The MD and CEO is Vibha Padalkar. Vibha Padalkar is the MD and CEO of HDFC Life Insurance Company. Next, if you see, the Qatar-India Postal Remittance Service has been operationalized in Doha. This service, if you see, it has been developed in collaboration. It has been developed by Qatar Post, Department of Post, which works under our Ministry of Communication. Next, the Universal Postal Union Interconnection Platform and NPCI International Payment Limited. So, these are the 4 entities that are involved in this implementation and development. Okay, but first of all, what is this remittance service? Say suppose there is a person A, okay, and he is living in Doha. He is living in Qatar. Now, he wants to send money to his mother who is living in India. Okay, so now what happens that this person A visits a postal outlet, okay, a Qatar post outlet, and then over there he hands over the money that he wants to send to his mother, and he also gives his identification details. He has to give the money as well as the identification details and also the UPI ID. These 3 things have to be given: money, the identification details and the UPI ID. Now, this UPI ID, if you see, it will be linked to the bank account and the money will be credited to that bank account. Okay, so A will hand over the money to the post office and the post office will send it via the UPI infrastructure, and the bank account which is linked to this UPI ID, to that bank account the money will be credited. Okay, this is how the procedure will work. So, here if you see, it is the postal operators. Okay, it is the postal operators who will perform this cross-border transfer. Okay, the postal operators, it is them who will do this cross-border transfer. One more important thing that you have to know is that the bank account, okay, that will receive the money, it must have this international inward remittance through UPI facility enabled. Okay, this one, if you see, it is a remittance. Remittance is what? When a money is sent from one country to another country, it is called as remittance. So, this international inward remittance must be enabled. Then only that person will receive the money. Okay, this is what is this remittance service, and that now has been operationalized in Doha. And does this service have a limit? Yes, this service has a limit. What is the limit? The limit is, next news is the GDP projection by ICRA. So, here if you see, India is expected to grow at the rate of 7% in first quarter of financial year 27. First quarter of financial year 27 means April, May, June 2026. Okay, April, May, June 2026 is the first quarter of financial year 27. In that, if you see, India is expected to grow at the rate of 7%. And if you see sector-wise growth, okay, sector-wise growth, if you see, industry growth is expected to be around 7.7%. Next, agri growth is expected to be around 4%. Next, services, that is expected to grow at the rate of 7.9%. Services is expected to grow the highest growth rate. Services has the highest growth rate, that is 7.9%. Now, for financial year 27, this one is for the first quarter, right? For the entire financial year 27, if you see, India is expected to grow at the rate of 6.7%. This is for the entire year financial year 27. Now, ICRA, if you see, it is a rating and a research agency and it is headquartered in Gurugram.